Our theme song. Welcome, everyone. We're the Isn't It Romantic Book Club. We are beaming in live on YouTube and Jennie's page, my page, and Team Source Books. And we're just happy you're here watching. Feel free to leave a comment. We love comments. Be sure to ask a question of Sasha. Oh, Sasha, I should mention, I guess, that we are talking today about Must Love Bees by Sasha Summers. And wasn't that the sweetest story?
I love it.
You know, I am childless by choice, but if all kids were like Nova, I might have changed my mind. You know what I mean? She was so adorable. So anyway, we're just all happy you're here. Be sure to leave a comment. Let us know where you're from, especially if you're commenting on Facebook, because sometimes Facebook doesn't blend well with StreamYard and it won't tell us your name. So just maybe tack your name on at the end of your comment, and just so we know who you are. Otherwise, it'll just say Facebook user. All right, so everybody, I am Abbie Roads. I write dark romantic thrillers. I tell people think an episode of Criminal Minds meets a love story with a twist. And I have a little stack of books, and there's Dangerous Dreams and Broken Dreams. And I am missing a copy of Shattered Dreams, but there's another one. And Defying Evil, and then Capturing Fate. That's me.
I have all your books, Abbie. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened to that one.
I know. It's like, I think I gave away my last copy of Shattered Dreams. And that's why I don't have a copy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Diana Muñoz Stewart. I write romantic suspense for The Strong of Heart. Sorry, guys. My most recent release, It's All in the Hips, is out now. That
Love
just
it.
came
I
out
love
like a
that
couple of
cover.
days ago.
Yes.
I'm super excited about it. I also, and that's kind of a like light romantic suspense, but I also write the Spy Makers Guild series, and I have the Bad Legacy series that are also out. And so this is a weird kind of occasion. We usually beam right into Isn't a Romantic Book Club, the group, and now we're beaming onto pages on Facebook. So if you're seeing us and if you're hearing us okay, please let us know. Please comment, because it's a little bit disconcerting for us to not be in the group and not have that connection with all our regular book club people.
Yeah, and it wasn't because we made that choice either, just so you all know. It was a
that wasn't us.
situation. So we're all trying to figure it out. My name is Sharon Wray. I'm so happy to be here today. I write romantic suspense. My current novel is Love's Last Kiss. The next one, A Promise at Midnight, is in the works. This is the Deadly Force romantic suspense series. Think Dan Brown type mysteries with lots of sexy green berets and all the fun things that happen with that. I also write contemporary romance and, believe it or not, motorcycle club romance. I've got 2 little stories coming out in anthologies this morning. I don't know if you can see that.
Neat.
This is just the anthology cover, and then this one. So I've got 2 steamy summer novellas. Summer. So
What was the second title? I couldn't read it.
Craving My Roommate.
Oh.
Okay. And this one's shorter than this one. This one is that one summer, but I need to keep myself to deadlines, and sometimes doing these anthologies keep me on task. So anyway, that's me, and on to Jennie.
Nice. Hi, everybody. Jennie Marts here. I write small town stories with humor and heart. I write a lot of cowboys. I write hockey playing cowboys. I have my horse rescue series with hot cowboys. I have my brand new book that just came out. It's called Overdue for a Cowboy. It's in the Lassiter Ranch series. It's so hard to do this, you guys.
I know. I love the cover.
But I just love this cover so much. Here's the dog that's in it. You know, all my books have dogs in it. And this is a librarian and a book nerd cowboy. So I'm super excited about this one. It just came out this month. And
I love the colors in that one.
Yeah, you know what? These colors are so striking. So I'll just tell you, not that it's anything is about me, but this. So what I'm going to do for the next book in the series is, because I've kind of got this purplish cover and then this green cover, I'm going to have kind of a pinkish red sky for the next one. That'll be yeah, I'm kind of excited about that. So my next book coming out is at the end of this month or the beginning of June, which is Sasha is sort of like my soul sister. So we both write bees. And so my next cozy mystery, just in my books, there's much more murder. In my bee books. Killer Bee Killed is coming out June 1st. It's the second one in the beekeeping series. So now let me tell you about my friend Sasha. So we all met Sasha, many years ago. She's one of our source book sisters. And let me just tell you a little bit about her writing career. She's a USA Today bestselling author, Sasha Summers. She writes stories that celebrate the ups and downs, the loves and losses, ordinary and extraordinary occurrences of life. Sasha pens fiction in multiple genres. She hopes each and every book will draw readers in and set them on an emotional and rewarding journey, which she did because I bawled like crazy in this book. When she's not writing, she's reading or spending time with her family somewhere in the Texas Hill Country with the puppy on her lap. This is also why Sasha and I are soul sisters, and we will be talking about this today. Her favorite Thor mug, which Thor is my man too. We'll have to fight for him. We'll have to arm wrestle for him. Her favorite Thor mug full of coffee. Sasha is currently working on her next novel. Welcome, Sasha.
Hi.
Welcome, Sasha. We're so happy you're here.
I think you're on mute.
I unmuted myself. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Y'all
We
have
are
like the
excited to
coolest
see you,
theme
and we
song
love
ever.
the book.
Oh, thank you. Yay.
And
I'm glad I
really
made you
did call,
cry.
oh yeah, I just cried and cried. Like the last fourth of the book, my husband was watching a hockey game, and he looks over at me and he's like, "What is going on?" I'm like, "Oh, this is just." I just cried.
That's horrible, but I love it. I love it when I can make somebody cry. It makes me very happy.
So we like to have the author tell a little bit about the book. So tell our readers a little bit about what this story is about.
Okay. Well, I'm a real movie person, so I tend to base my people on actors a lot of the time. You know, the first one was very much Chris Hemsworth, but this one, and if you're a movie person, you might have picked up on his name. His name is Charlie Adam Driver. So if you know who Adam Driver is, he was totally my muse for Charlie because just very handsome, but in a non-traditional way. He's very socially awkward. It's like this bumbling man who really, really wants to connect with people, but he's just super timid. And so he comes across kind of like a jerk. People don't like him because I think he's stuffy and opinionated. And he kind of came to mind as I was just developing who I wanted to have for Astrid, because Astrid is this kind of earth mother, right? Everybody loves her. She loves everybody. And so they kind of fit really well. And she was the kind of person that I knew wouldn't give up on a character like Charlie. And I always write kids and I always write animals. So, you know, I had to have a couple of cute little girls. And I agree, Nova is adorable. She was so cute. And I always, when I'm writing, it's kind of like, you know, watching a movie. So a lot of times they'll say things to me and I'm like, oh, that makes such great sense kind of thing. So yeah, it's just a single dad trying to connect with his two daughters that are actually his stepchildren. And just fumbling it terribly. And then this really sweet family kind of adopting them and showing him how to be a dad and how to be a family with bees. Have to have bees in there too.
And lots of really
And no murder.
I loved the recipes in the back.
Yeah, and no murder. The bees in her book do not kill anyone. But
Sasha, Jennie mentioned that she had cried, you know, like crazy. So did the writing the book make you cry? Did you find yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I love to go through it because I feel like if I'm not getting kind of an emotional punch one way or the other, I'm not delivering, you know, the way it needs to. And so, yeah, I think the scene between Hallie and Charlie was the one that got me the most because I have, my kids are all older now. My youngest is 22. But yeah, the teen years are not easy. And so I really wanted to try and tap into that because if you're a parent of that age group, you know, there are days when it's just, I'm just going to leave. I'm going to go get that milk, right? I'm going to go out for some milk. Isn't that what they say?
yeah.
Yeah, I think you showed that contrariness of that age really well.
Thank you.
And just, and if you're not, and if you are not used to having teenagers, like parents, I think certain parents just kind of get used to the back and forth of my daughter would go to TMI, too much love, or TML, too much love. And then all of a sudden she's hugging me, right? That constant back and forth, you get used to it. But strangers don't always understand that the kids are happy one moment.
Yes. And you don't even know half the time what happened or what
Exactly.
triggered it.
And it might be nothing other than it's what was 11 o'clock, now it's 12.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah.
I love that. I think that was really just a charming aspect to the book.
Thank you.
Well, and it showed. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, even just the whole family, you know, like the whole family comes in and sort of adopts the girls and wraps their arms around them when they needed it. It was just wonderful. The whole family aspect too.
I love the Hills. They have definitely found a place in my heart. All the women, the female beekeepers, which, obviously, since all the bees are really women except for the drones, it was obviously kind of connecting that. But no, I love the family. I love the aunts. They're so much fun. I mean, I could just see the two of them in the kitchen bickering, but with affection. I really got lost and caught up in that family. So I'm sad the last book comes out the end of June. And I'm sad to say goodbye to them because they've been a real joy to write.
So who is
you
the
wrote
last
the novella
book about?
too?
Hmm?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, Rosemary.
Oh,
Rosemary,
okay.
the last sister. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end of Must Love Bees, there should be a novella in there. And she comes home for an event. I don't want to ruin it for anybody who didn't read it. And so, yes. So she comes home and she has her story. I was really hoping to get Shelby's story in there because I already had it all plotted out. But so far, no takers. We'll see. I might just have to do that indie because it's a great story. I have it already in my head and I would really love to share it with readers. So
that's one of the things I love about the indie world is you can just keep writing, right?
Yes. Yes, exactly. The people, the town, you can see it, and you want everyone to have a happy ending. So it's like, no, not yet. We're almost there, but not yet. Yeah.
I loved the amount of research you did on the bees. Like it didn't feel like you'd done research, but I'm a librarian, so I could tell from the other side that you must have put in a lot of time.
Yes.
And I know that you went to like a class. So tell us about that, like
I did.
thing that you attended.
So the Texas Agriculture Agency actually has classes. And so I went to this wonderful woman, Molly Keck. She's a master beekeeper. And so I went out, it's actually her place. Got to do some hive inspections. And then I went to a couple of local honey farms here at Bee Weaver, which I love. And just, got to handle bees. I have my own little bee suit now and all the equipment. We even have an empty, really beautiful beehive. But every time I'm about to start something, I'm off traveling somewhere or something. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to get bees and then desert them and have them take over the neighborhood because I'm pretty sure the neighbors wouldn't like that. So it's an eventual goal. But yeah, so I did a lot of classes and training. I went to this really cool conference. They did an annual beekeepers conference in Texas. So I got to do that. Took my daughter. We had so much fun. It's a different world. When you research different communities, if you will, within the world, you learn so much. And it's like, how did I not know this? How did I not know this before now? And that's one of my favorite parts of writing is because, it's always a learning experience. This went a little more hands-on than I was expecting, but I'm no longer scared of bees. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
Oh,
and you
started out afraid of bees.
I was nervous about them. Yes, I was really nervous about them because I didn't realize so much of them. I mean, they don't want to sting people. But yeah, now I go out of my way to try to make sure that they're not going to get stepped on or someone's not going to hurt them. I'm a real pro bee person now.
My beekeeper is a little close to home. So my beekeeper is my husband.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. We have property.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, it's very easy to ask him questions. I just turn to the side and be like, tell me some more about this. But he has at one of his nature centers, he has a hive, like an observation hive where you can see it's all clear on one side. And there's a tube that goes outside. So the bees come in and you can see it. So I should take some classes like that because that sounds really interesting. But I don't really have a hive in my backyard. You really want to have a hive?
I really do. I mean, we have so many flowers in Texas, and this neighborhood, so many people garden, and there's just not a lot of them. And I'm like, well, it'd be kind of cool. And there's no policy in Texas that says you can't have any in your backyard. It's basically if your neighbors would complain kind of thing. So it's something I'm working on. My husband's not sold on the idea yet, but I'm working on it. So
Is it like having a dog where you have to have like a house sitter, someone to watch the bees while you're
Good question, Sharon.
I think it depends on your beekeeping style because, I went hardcore into beekeeping forums and there were some people who, yes, I mean, it was like they tucked them in at night kind of thing. But I think, it was, some of them are really, I don't think, I mean, Jenny can tell me if I'm wrong, but no, you don't have to open up the hive, very often. If anything, you want to not, because that's how they build everything up. And that's how they make honey and do bee things. Really, if you're a beekeeper, you're just protecting them. You're not going in there and poking on them and taking stuff from them. You just want to make sure that they don't have any mites or any kind of nasty things in there bothering them.
Okay. That's so interesting. And then the honey you take from, like, if you had a backyard hive, can you just eat the honey like raw?
You can totally just eat it off the comb if you want to. Yeah. But with it that small, I mean, because we have such significant droughts in Texas, you want to be really aware of taking stuff that they might need when there isn't anything blooming.
My grandfather was a beekeeper too. And so we grew up with like little, Tupperware dishes of honeycomb. And so then you just the thing and you just eat it.
Yep. Yeah, it's really good. It is. When I was visiting my daughter overseas last year, she was so excited. She's like, Mom, we have to go to this place. And it was a honey ice cream shop. And it was that they take in honeycomb and then they just put ice cream on top of it. It was really good. I was like, never would have thought about that. So
is that what inspired you to start writing about bees?
No, I had been following, I don't know, Erica Thompson. I don't know if you guys are aware of her. She's on Instagram and she's the Texas beekeeper lady. And she's this gorgeous woman. I mean, she is like Aurora from Sleeping Beauty come to life. And she goes out and takes care of bees, like with no veil or gloves, which I don't recommend.
Yeah. Oh, I have seen her.
And rescues like the swarm.
Yes, exactly. And she's very calm, her tone, she's just very welcoming. She's not condescending, she's not impatient. And I'm like, you are so cool. And then, Angelina Jolie, when I first was thinking about it, she became the bee ambassador and she did this really gorgeous campaign where the bees just landed on her and she sat there kind of thing. And I was like, okay, this is a message. So that kind of got me started. And then just realizing how many people are really terrified of bees was something else because, it's kind of like sharks, you don't necessarily want to go out and pet them, but, they're obviously not evil, really. They have a purpose. So.
And now my family has given me 1 million, and I have just 1 million bee motif things and I love it, but do you just have 1 million bee motif things now?
I do. I gave up my guest bedroom as completely bees. Completely. I have Christmas ornaments. I have a beautiful painting. I have a blanket, you name it. Yes. So, yeah. I do. It's great. I mean, I think they're awesome, but yeah, my husband's like, okay, you have the one, because even our downstairs guest bathroom has also bees. He's like, okay, that's it. No more bees in public. We're good. Enough is enough. Okay.
You're definitely now you have to be ultra careful about what you're going to write about next. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Maybe not that shark book.
Right. Not the shark book.
What was your favorite scene in the book?
I mean, there's a lot. So many of them just kind of revolve around Charlie and his little gradual metamorphosis. Like I love the scene where he, the washing machine scene where it flies open and he's fighting and he's so frustrated and impatient and the girls think it's funny. And I love that because it was a very much I mean, he's frustrated. You would get frustrated, but then turning it into something funny was kind of cute. And of course, I love the rain scene when he finally, reaches for her. I love that scene. That scene that I was like, yes, I got that. That was good. So
that was really, that was a beautiful.
So are you a pantser or a plotter when you write?
And I have a very loose plot. I need to get better about doing that because, now I kind of go off on tangents and I'm like, wait, that's not what the synopsis says. So you need to write it back. But no, I'm mostly a pantser. I mean, I will try to do like a roadmap so that I can kind of stay on course. But I feel like if I plot too much, then I feel like I've already written the book. I don't know if that makes sense.
So that's how I feel. Yeah.
Okay, good. I was like, I wish I could be one of those people that has each chapter kind of laid out, but sadly, no.
Yeah, I'm like that too. It's like if I already know what I'm going to write, I don't want to write it because it's not exciting to me.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, I totally get that.
And
You
what do you
have
write?
to be disciplined because it could take you so much longer to write a book
Yes,
if you go off on the tangents and stuff.
exactly. And that's not good when you have deadlines. You can ask my editor.
What are you writing right now, Sasha?
Oh, Bella. Sorry, my dog. Cowboys, like Jenny. I write lots and lots of cowboys. And so I'm back to writing a sweeter category. I write for category romance for Harlequin. So it's a little town called Garrison, Texas. And so I'm visiting Garrison for the next 2 books.
Oh, that's wonderful. When does
That's
the first?
fun.
When do they come out? Do you know? Do you have due yet?
I have one that comes out actually at the end of this month. It's Home to Her Cowboy. And then I think the next one isn't until Christmas. So yeah, I have a Christmas and then a Valentine's one. And then I think the one after that will be in May. So
That's cool. Well, we have to
Yeah.
put some of those links in the group
okay.
when we put the.
Yeah.
It's so different now, Sasha. I'm sorry. We usually
No.
feed right into the groups, and it's just very easy to do all the things in the group.
Yeah.
So we'll do that though after
Okay.
live streams.
So,
So-
I was impressed with how many recipes you had at the end. So I have recipes in the back of my books. And I actually, for my first one, my mom came over and we made a whole bunch of recipes to make sure that they were good. Because honey lemonade that they drank like crazy in my book was disgusting. It tasted so good. So we took that one out. So did you actually try all of these recipes and tell us about the recipes?
The first book I did because I went out to a lot of different forums, and then there's the National Honey Board, so I was kind of reaching out to them and trying to track what was the most popular ones. First one I did a lot of cooking. My mom, same. She's a retired chef, so yes, we had a great time in the kitchen.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So she's a lot of fun. The second one I didn't do all of them. I kind of asked people that had made stuff that used honey that liked it and was like, okay, great, can I use this? And they were like, yes. Don't put my name in it because if it's bad, I don't want to be. That's fine. So I didn't test all of the ones. And this one, the last one though, I think I did all of those. Just because it's if it's not, like you said, if it's not going to taste good, I don't want to be like, try this. Oh, it's bad. It's really bad. I'm so sorry. I don't want to do that. So
Do you have a favorite?
there is an old-timey rustic honey cake, which is really yummy. It's not overwhelmingly sweet, but it's just really, it's kind of like a comfort, if you had it with.
Oh, she froze?
Oh, I thought
Jennifer's?
it was just
Sorry.
me.
Say that again, Sasha. If you had it with what, it's good.
Oh, with a cup of coffee, just something, or even
Okay.
you could do hot chocolate, but that might be a little rich. But I like coffee with everything though, so it'd be a little biased there.
I was expecting vanilla ice cream, so coffee is. I thought you were going
That'll
to
work
say
too.
ice cream. Yeah.
Well, I want to know about the Thor mug. Sorry, I don't mean to get us off the book for a minute. I just want
No.
sure.
So I have been a Thor. My name is Sasha, and I'm a Thor addict. I have been since the first Avengers movie. I just and the first Thor movie, which to me is the perfect hero's journey. If you haven't seen the original Thor, it is everything. I mean, it's like you could just plot it out. It's perfect, and so is he. So it's a win-win. I love big fantasy films. I'm not a huge action hero person. So, I wasn't necessarily excited about all the Avengers movies, but all the Thor movies, yes, I have bobbleheads, I have figurines, I have action figures. It's kind of like the bees when people found out that I liked, I have a bottle opener that's Mia, his big old, hammer. So yeah, I mean, my husband is not nearly as supportive of that one as he is of the bees,
Bees. Her house is bees and Thor themed.
It is. It's a very eclectic. My office, yes, it's very, very much a Thor and bees, but all over there is no Thor thing out in the regular house. That is all me. He would be like, absolutely not. But bees, he's a little more okay with. So yeah, I used to do every Thursday, and I haven't done that recently because some people were like, "Isn't that objectifying him?" And I don't ever want to come across that way with Chris Hemsworth because I think he's a lovely man, and I love that he's so supportive of his wife and kids. That's one of the reasons I think he's such great hero material. I used to do a Thor's Day post every Thursday. I would do a picture.
I loved it.
Yeah. Okay. Did you see? Because I missed
Yes.
it. I'm just saying.
Yes, because I'm such a huge Chris fan too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And he just did this beautiful new GQ shoot. Oh my gosh. And the pictures are like so pretty. I'm like, okay.
I'm sure
thank
he
you so
would
much.
appreciate you sharing these photos that,
You
you
think?
know,
Okay.
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't
Well,
think
if I
he'd
have
have
to,
a problem with it. Yeah.
And people came at you and said you shouldn't do it.
there were a couple because he was like there was one or two where he was surfing, so he was shirtless. And so they were kind of like, aren't you objectifying him? And I was like, that's a valid point. I would never want to offend anybody. So now I have vowed to only put him in fully clothed pictures because, I can get that. And especially some of my readers who want to read just super sweet and they don't want to see. I know. So yeah. So I'm being very mindful about that though, because
It's good.
I get it. Do you get it?
Yeah. I have lots of my heroes are a cross between Chris Hemsworth and Brad Pitt, Henry Cavill. Like it just always starts with Chris Hemsworth and a cross with, but mainly just Chris.
Oh yeah. Yes. No, he's fantastic. I know. And he's so funny. I mean, I think he's hysterical. So yeah, he brings a lot to the table. I'm just saying.
He does.
And he seems like just such a nice guy.
he does.
You know?
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah, and he's he's really active with the community and the environment, and very outspoken about being supportive of Australia. Yeah, I mean,
I bet he
seems
loves
like-
bees.
Yeah, they should have him around bees. They do. They keep bees. So there you go. But no, so he's just a cool dude, and I don't ever want to know him because I don't want to be disillusioned. From what I know of him, he's awesome. So he can just stay over there, and I'll just keep thinking he's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. So, what is your favorite romance genre to write in? Subgenre.
Okay, so I really love fantasy, but I've only published a few in that genre. But I just love it because you can create your own rules, which is so great. There's nothing expected, or you can just kind of have fun and go off the rails. And I like to do that every once in a while. When you write lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of cowboys, it's nice to kind of shake things up and be really different. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
so
What are your
kind of
fantasy titles?
Yeah. What
I didn't even know that you wrote fantasy.
I didn't
No,
know.
I mean, it has been a long time, and I have several books that I haven't published that I would love to get out there. But again, it's just, how it is when you get on that track, right? It's like you just got to keep going, and then you have the editors that are like, pick your lane, stay in your lane kind of thing. And I, again, totally get that. The ones that are published, I have an Olympus series. So if you like Greek mythology, I'm a huge Greek mythology person.
Yeah.
So it's called Loves of Olympus, and the first 3 books are out, but there's 3 more that I need to get out there. So yeah, I love anything to do with mythology. All of my other fantasy stuff has ties back to mythology. So
Sasha, is it on the sweeter side?
no,
There's some pretty steamy Olympic god series out right now.
yes. Yeah, no, I think there's just something about being, the whole idea of it being very id based. They don't have to explain anything because they're gods. So yeah, I think it lends itself to just more of a kind of visceral kind of writing, if you will. If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
huge.
we know what you mean. Mhm.
Wink, wink.
We know. We know.
So, can you describe your writing process? I mean, it's different for fantasy. Fantasy, you have so much world building, but just like your regular writing process.
Sure. Because I've been writing for Harlequin, I've been so lucky, and they're great, and they're really into series, right? So it's kind of one of those things where for me, knowing that, I kind of go into it with okay, this is the community where I know I want to stay for a while. Normally there's 1 or 2 big families because that always makes it easier, right? When you have some siblings to work through. And I try to make each town unique. Like there's the one in Garrison right now. They have this big old tree. It's the oldest tree, biggest tree in Texas, called Erstebaum, and the community is very German. So we have all these German festivals, and one of the books was about them trying to save the tree from a box store coming in to develop the land that it was on, kind of thing. So just making sure that there's enough there for readers to want to stay and for me to want to stay and write for a while. But I'm very much a character-driven writer, so I have to like the people, and I want to make sure that they're real in a way that they're flawed, but in a relatable fashion. It's like I love to have a really horrible person every once in a while, like Willa Dean. She was pretty nasty, but we all know someone like her, or at least maybe it's just a Texas thing, but I know some Willardines for sure. So it's good to have someone to come in and mix things up to kind of agitate stuff. So.
And how many Harlequins do you write a year? 2?
No, I'm pretty ongoing with them. I normally have about 4 that I'm writing each year.
Okay.
And then it just depends on the publishing lineup because they fill, pretty quickly.
Right.
So like I only had 1 last year come out with them, but then I think I'm going to have 3 this year and 3 or 4 next year. And, so it just depends on where they slot me in.
But you write 4 a year?
Yes.
Wow.
And are they I know that special edition used to be 55,000 words, and now they've moved to 70. So are they all, you're reading 4 70,000 word books?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Again.
It is. I am admittedly really tired right now. I will be honest with you. Yes. So my next contract says like, we're going to put some more space between the books just because, I don't want to do the whole burnout thing. Cause it's a real, after a certain point, you're like, okay, I need to breathe for a while. So yeah.
Yeah. You need your creative well to refill too.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
So do you write 5 days a week? What's your daily writing goal? Do you have a daily writing goal?
Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be efficient? That would be so amazing, Jenny. Why didn't anybody ever suggest that to me? I'm terrible, y'all. I'm a terrible Gemini procrastinator. So I'm one of those people who it's like, okay, I have 6 weeks. I know what I need to write a day, and I will be like on week 4, and I'm like, oh, I haven't started that yet. So my progress or process is ridiculous, and it's totally all about self-abuse. And there you go. I'm being completely honest with you guys. It would be great if I had a daily goal, but I just go until I don't have any more to give, and then I do the same thing the next day.
Wow.
I told you
performing that. I'm really trying.
I told you we're soul sisters. I'm always like, oh, I have so much time. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, shoot. And just because I have a daily writing goal doesn't mean I always make the daily writing goal.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. I feel better now. So I can say that I have one, but it doesn't mean I have to meet it. Thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking that sounds an awful lot like Jenny's process.
Yeah.
And like every time, y'all.
Yeah, I run away to the mountains for 3 days and write like 20,000 words in 3 days because I am crazy and just don't,
Yeah, and every time I finish and turn in a book, I'm like, okay, next time. I've got this much time. We are going to do this. And I'll spend like 2 days plotting out my process and showing my little, progress boards, and that's it. Don't do anything with it after that. So I need to get better about it. I really do. For my mental health, for my husband's mental health, it would probably be better if I was, a little more diligent there.
Do you have a romance trope that is easier for you to write through or to write about?
I do think that kids for me are a really big factor. I mean, my editor loves for me to write kids, so it's become kind of a mainstay, but I think kids are naturally, they can say things that adults can't, but adults are totally thinking them. So I love putting kids in, not necessarily secret babies, but normally it will be a single parent with somebody who doesn't have kids or, had a horrible relationship and lost a kid to, a partner who, came with kids and then they left him, kind of thing. So I think that putting children in really offers a potential for vulnerability. So I like to use those kids.
I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. My husband and I are childless by choice. And as I was reading this, I was just like, oh my God, I love Nova so much. Like she was probably my favorite character. Like,
Aww.
and I was like, man, if kids were really like this, I might have one, but like that time is gone now for me. But I was like, wow, I just really just loved her. She was just so adorable.
It's the age. It's the age, Abbie. That's a
teenager thing.
Age.
The teenager, like no, yeah, that's enough to turn me off.
It's hard, and then it's wonderful for a long stretch, and then it's not so much, and then it's awful, and then it's right. I mean, that seems to be the progression. I'm in a good stage right now. It's not happy, but
yeah. It's definitely, I would agree. It's never steady. And just when you get settled in one way, I have 4 though. So they definitely like to keep me on my toes. But never a dull moment.
Diana has 6 or 7 or
Good
9.
for
7.
7.
Yeah.
You win. And you're smiling and you look great.
Where's my prize?
Yes, you should get one. You really should.
So you're saying that writing children, you like to put them in the book. So is this your favorite book in the series, or?
Yes, definitely. I really just loved the couple as a whole. I just loved them. Now, I mean, when you're writing a book, I think, or hopefully when you're writing it, that's your favorite book, right? And that's your favorite characters. And that's totally the same. I loved the first one with Tansy and Dane, because Dane is completely Chris Hemsworth. I was so bummed when I got the cover, because I make a huge point in the book of him putting his hair up in a man bun repeatedly. Because hello, Chris Hemsworth with long hair. And they sent me a picture with a guy with like short, dark hair. And I was like, but they wouldn't change it. So there you go. He's off in the distance, but I know, I can tell.
Yeah.
A couple of readers were like, this is totally not Chris Hemsworth. And I'm like, I know. Aren't you bummed? But yeah, so I love the relationship. And then the third book is Rosemary and Everett. And you've met Everett in the other two books. And it's sweet. It's a friends to lovers. And it's really, really sweet. But there was just something about Astrid and Charlie. I really, really love their story.
Yeah, I loved how they
awesome.
met too. That was a great scene.
Yeah. And I did the audio book, and I felt like the audio was very, very good.
Good. Yeah. They'll send you a couple of narrators to listen to, and then you get to pick. But, I've learned sometimes the sample that they'll send you is like great. But then when they get into a different character voice, it's like, oh no.
Yes, I heard this.
Yes. Yeah. No, there's been a couple of them like, oh, this is painful. But that one, this narrator is not the case. I really enjoyed this narrator. So I'm very lucky about that.
So do you listen to
narrator did a
your audio? Do you listen to your audiobooks?
I don't listen to all of them. When I've had readers say, did you listen to this one? Now there's been a couple that I was curious about, because I knew some of my earlier ones, I won't name names because I don't want to get in trouble. But there was one in particular. It was one of my first ones that was an audiobook, and it was really steamy. And I was so super excited because the voice was like super sexy. But there's also a grandmother, and I wasn't thinking about the grand. Yeah, you see where I'm going with this. It was not all voices were created equal. Let's just put it that way. And so it was really hard. I laughed. It was not, you know what I mean? It totally threw off the mood. So I've listened to a couple of them, especially the ones that I'm like really, really curious about. But yeah, I don't listen to all of them anymore because I'm worried. It's like, okay, I hope that the reader can get into it and enjoy it. But and I think sometimes we pronounce or have the way someone's going to sound in our head, and so if we don't hear it that way, sometimes it can be jolting or jarring. Jarring's a better word.
How many books have you written now?
I think 51, but those aren't all published yet. They're lined up. So I think actually published, it's 43 right now. So, but yeah, I've been very lucky, very, very lucky. Every day I'm like, thank you. I'm very lucky.
Do you have a favorite hero / heroine, or?
Well, gosh, no, there's like a handful, you know what I mean? That I would be like, okay, I really, really love this. But not an absolute favorite. No. You spend so much time with them. It's really hard. It's like your kids. It's really hard to be like, yeah, no, this is totally my favorite. I think some of them just clicked better, and the end result was just that much more. But yeah, no, not really.
Sasha, I have to stop you. You are not lucky. You are a talented writer.
Oh. A lot of talented people out there, though. You know what I mean? And I'm fully aware of that don't get the contracts or the PR, because let's be honest, y'all know PR is everything. It can make or break a book. It can be a fabulous book. But if you don't get that support, no one's going to read it. And those are the ones that are gut-wrenching. So when I see or read somebody who's fabulous and they haven't gotten the attention, it breaks my heart, because it's hard. It's hard enough, if you're not talented, but you're just really hardworking. And that's great too. But to be able to get some attention and really get the PR that it's just to stand out, it's tough, really tough.
It is.
So when you're working that hard, and writing so much, what do you do to relax?
My current fixation, and I'm going to admit this, please don't hold it against me, is I have gotten completely addicted to Chinese and Korea dramas.
Oh, I love
K-dramas.
I love
Oh, really?
My gosh. It's like I don't even need to sleep right now. It's terrible. They're completely like mind check out, all of it. Totally love it. So that's what I've been doing. I've always been a big movie person, so that would be what I would do, is I would binge watch something or watch a movie that I loved, or take my dogs for a walk, or But yeah, as far as relaxing, it's pretty much checking into somebody else's stories. I just binged,
That's fun.
everyone's reading it right now, but the ACOTAR series, my daughter-in-law was like, you have to read this. So finished that series. That was really fun. But yeah, I
Wait,
think
which one? Which series?
the Sarah J. Maas,
A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Oh, the Court of Thorn and Roses. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's trying to get me to do the other one, the 7-book series. Glass, I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, so I love to read big fantasy books too. That's fun.
Did you read Fourth Wing?
Oh yeah. Yes. Loved it. It was so much fun. Have the
Yeah.
second one, but I'm like, I don't want to read it now because I have to wait for a while, so I'm savoring it. Have that. And it was a great little mental escape there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
she's so
my-
nice. So it's like even better because it's like, oh my gosh, she's like the nicest person. Yay, she's getting all this, you know what I mean? All this reader love. So it's awesome.
Yeah. My theory is I'll read it again, Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, when the third one comes, before the third one comes out,
Yeah.
to remind myself.
Yeah.
Sasha, can I ask you use like Scrivener or Plotter or just write in Word? What are you writing?
So I have written one book in Scrivener and it was amazing and I didn't ever do it again. I don't know why. It's on my computer. It's great. Again, not sure. I do use Plotter for my story Bibles because I used to do, I actually have a story Bible that I wrote when I used to teach a class, but Plotter is just so easy to add stuff digitally. So I use it for keeping up with all my places because as you guys know, when you write a series, you're like, okay, wait, what was the name of that? And who was related to this person? And how many kids did they have? And what age were they? So Plotter is fantastic for that. But I just write in Word.
Plotter is also great for the timeline when you have multiple books.
Yeah.
Yes.
An interconnected series, it's great for that. It's one of the best.
Yeah. I've loved Plotter and it's super, as far as a tool, I think it's very affordable, which is a win-win, I haven't used it to its full potential, I'll be honest with you, but from what I've used it for, I really like it.
Yeah, I haven't either. I haven't like written in it or anything.
Yeah.
But I use those other ancillary things. So
Yeah.
So when's your next book due?
Next week. And then I have another, next week. And then I have another one due at the end of May. So this is crunch time.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I know. But luckily I have nothing going on. So it will just be me and the computer and my dogs keeping me company and we'll get it done.
Is the one due next week almost done?
Oh yeah. It's we're in the end third.
Okay.
So
And then the one due the end of May, is that like a 70,000-er?
Oh my gosh.
And like Jennie, you must be twins separated at birth.
Yes, they must be. They must be.
Like I said, it's totally all on me because I know it's not like they spring these deadlines on you, right? I mean, they tell you, hey, what works for you? And you're like,
Next year, what we're doing next year, right?
exactly, yeah. And then, stuff always comes up invariably. So I just haven't figured out how to build in enough time there that when stuff comes up, I'm not even more scrambling right at the end because it's become a habit, I guess, at this point.
I think it's neat that you both can do that because stress dries up my creative well. And like if I knew I had a deadline that had a third of a book due like in a week, I would like totally freak out and not be able to write. But you guys, it's like you are built so that like gets you to write.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome.
And I had a friend say to me the other day, wouldn't you rather just like try to start earlier and piece it out? And I'm like, of course I would. Yes, I would rather do that. Yes.
Yes. I mean, that would be like the most sane, rational business thing to do.
Yeah.
I totally
And
get
she
it.
does that. So it's like, yeah, I would rather do that. Thank you.
Stephen Pressfield on his website, his blog, he's always talking about stuff like this. And he just wrote a post on Wednesday, yesterday. And it's all about how sometimes when you're backed up against the deadline, it's like the muse he's talking about creativity, the muse needs that because they know you're committed. If you're all of a sudden you're looking at your thing and it's like you have 3 days and you start typing and you are committed, the muse will show up and get it done for you. And then all of a sudden 3 days later, you don't have any memory of writing, but it's done.
Oh, that's true.
It is true. I just wrote 18,000 words in 2 days in the last couple of days because I had a book due last night.
Awesome.
And I cut half the story on last Sunday.
Wow.
I did
wow, Sharon.
So yesterday the blog post came
9,000 words in 9,000 words a day?
Yes. Don't
Awesome.
recommend. I'm like turning into Jenny.
Yeah.
What is thing with Diana and Abbie?
Yeah, and see, I'm always the one who I have my book done a month before it's due, and I
Oh,
send it to
wow.
my agent, and she reads it, and then she tells me anything I need to change before we then send it to the editor. Like
That's amazing.
I want
I
to
can't
type.
even
yeah.
comprehend that. Yeah.
No, I would be the one messaging my production editor. Okay, I need 4 more days. Just give me 4. If I can have just 4 more days, I'll be good. Can you just give me a week?
I relate to that, Jenny. I do. Mhm.
Yeah.
But anyway, I
It's
thought
funny
you were
how we're all
about that. It was really spoke to that. I was thinking of you, Jenny.
yeah. It's funny how we're all built so different.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's funny. So Sasha, you mentioned that sometimes your characters talk to you and
Yes.
will tell you, things to write. Do any of the characters kind of resemble people in your life? Do you find yourself writing or
Oh yeah. I mean, I
people in
think
your
I'm
life?
definitely not going to name names now. That's for sure. But yeah, there's some characters that I'm like, oh, totally. I can totally use this. That really happened because it's perfect. And I don't think sometimes they'll read the book and they won't catch it, which I'm very glad about. But yes, there have been times when it's been, kind of a real person. He passed last year, but there was a story not too long ago that I definitely put my dad in because I knew things were
Oh,
coming to an end. So I think it's nice because you can keep that, as a permanent thing and share him, if you will, with other people. So yeah, I think if you can do it nicely, it's great. But sometimes we can use them as, villains too. We just don't tell them.
How much of yourself do you put into some of your characters?
Some of them a lot, right? I mean, I think again that's normal. If there's a story that if the heroine is around my age or whatever, then it's much easier. But others, not completely, not me. It's like the opposite of something I would do, basically too. So it's either one way or the other. But the older I get, obviously, it's harder to put the young female ingenue. My heroines are definitely starting to get older too, which hopefully that's an okay thing. I don't know. So far, they haven't had a problem with it, but yeah. Because I think the older you get, the more you want to have mature people having a relationship, not just, your cute 24, 26-year-olds, So.
Yeah.
I just was in a panel and they asked me about like what would be an atypical character that I would write. And I was like, well, I'm 5'9" and I don't really write shorter women because I don't know what that's like. I've been I was 5'7" in 6th grade. I don't know what it's like to not be able to reach things. Like,
Yes.
I don't
it
really
sucks, Jenny.
So I don't know that world enough I don't have a lot of characters that are, mine are always, if the guy picks them up and carries them in the bedroom, they're like crossing their fingers and praying the whole time that he doesn't drop them.
That.
Versus like, that scene where the girl runs over and she just like jumps on him and hugs him and wraps her legs around him like a little monkey. And I'm just like, yeah, if I did that to my husband, he'd be on the floor. We would both be in traction. You have to call 911.
I think for me, Jenny, it would be I am so not athletic at all. I could never write in athletic. Yeah, I could never. I don't know what it's like to not stumble over my own big feet or drop things or catch a ball. I've never caught a ball. I've never caught anything.
Like besides the cold.
I can't even catch a frisbee. Except for a cold. So I think that would be for me.
Yeah. What's an atypical character that you haven't written or can't?
That's a hard question.
Writing, Sasha.
Well, I have written a very atypical, and it was one of the harder books I've ever written. But it's a paranormal romance, and she is a werewolf and very like terrible, dark, horrible past. And I've never written somebody that was that aggressive. She's a very angry at the world kind of character that acts out a lot and has a lot of colorful, spicy words to say without ever, flinching away from anything. She was a lot of fun, but it was hard because I would be like, okay, no, she wouldn't do that. I'm like, wait, I wouldn't do that. She would totally do that. So it was very much a kind of a push for me. But I think she's a great character. It was a lot of internal back and forth in my head as far as, okay, now this is a character that would totally do something like this, even though it was like, this is so weird. It was really cool. It was really cool. So I would love to do more like that. And I think that you stay engaged when you're more challenged, and I can lose myself a little bit easier. So yeah, it's a good question. That's a good question because it makes me think, how could I change stuff up in the next book to make it more of an atypical character? Thank you, Jennie. Thank you for that. We'll just add that to my really short turnaround,
Yes, please do. Yeah. I'd like to make it harder for you in the next month.
Thank you.
Sasha, are you doing any in-person signings for the rest of the year?
I am. I got invited to Lori Foster's event, RAGT.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm
so
We're so
excited.
jealous. We love Lori so much.
We do. She's one of our favorites.
Well, I got invited last year, but I was stuck in Japan thanks to a typhoon. So they were great.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's like, yeah, it was a very interesting event. So I'm super excited to get to go this year. And then I saw kind of some chatter that this might be the last year, or 2025 might be the last year. So I was like, no, because I've heard it's such a great event, and so many events right now seem to be with a big question mark. After the whole, I think Denver thing was another kind of push in that direction. So yeah, it's hard to find good.
I was there.
For you?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've had some people are like, well, I've been to a lot of big signings and it was a little chaotic, but I'm kind of used to that. And then other people who've just were like destroyed, and that's just horrible. So, yeah. But beside, I'm doing a really small event I did last year. So, if you ever have the chance to go to Galena, Illinois, it's like, Bella Louise. Sorry. Do you guys have, okay, weird question. Do your animals have middle names?
Mm-hmm.
I used to have a dog named Fancy Pants.
Thank you.
Exotic.
Middle names.
Well, I've had
All of ours.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was like a thing, and I only use it just like when I did with my kids. When like she's trying to tell me that there's somebody at the window. she'll get Bella Louise, and when I did that in front of my husband, he's like, "I'm sorry, what? Our dogs have middle names? Like it's this strange thing." And I'm like,
do.
"Thank you, I appreciate the validation." So yeah. Sorry, what was the original question? I totally.
Galena. Yeah. Some kind of signing.
You're beginning to see it's all over. Galena,
A signing in Galena.
Huh?
A signing in Galena.
Yes, in Galena, Illinois. And it looks like something out of Gilmore Girls. It's this really pretty little town full of shops, and it's during their girls' getaway weekend. So a lot of women there, and just a whole bunch of fun events. So get to do that with Nancy Nagel, who I adore. And then I'm doing a charity one in Dallas. It's Richardson, Texas, the Buns and Roses tea, which I try to do. And it's great because it's for adult literacy. It benefits the Richardson Library. So it's a fantastic event. So those, I think that's it for this year.
Cool.
I feel like
fun.
since COVID, it's different. Like the signings I go to before COVID, the RWA and all the other signings I did, and then after COVID, it feels like a different vibe, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Franticness or freneticness.
Yeah.
Readers wanting to contact authors and authors being more overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how to describe it.
Yeah, it is. It is. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, well, the whole publishing and writing has changed so much. It's kind of even, that you can write 4 books a year is amazing, because it's really hard to maintain a career in this changing world of writing.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I think that's been kind of the push for me to really get serious to try to do some indie stuff too, because as you know, if you put all your eggs in one basket, sometimes that it can really be a bad situation. So, and I love Harlequin. They've been so good to me. Like I said, super blessed, and I realize it. But I also have to, just plan in case, right? You need to have those just in case emergency situations. And so trying to build up an indie library would be really nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
I love it.
Yeah, just write a book a month. It'll be
There
fine.
you go. Some people do. I know. And I'm like, oh, what?
Which would actually be a book a week, because you're going to write it the week before it's due.
That's exactly.
Well,
Figure
and
it
I
out.
tell myself, like, okay, if I'm going to do an indie book, I'll do it a little bit shorter. I don't have to go 90,000
Yes.
words. But then I start writing and I get towards it and it's like, okay, I just passed 55. Okay, I just passed 65. And it's like, dang it, I was going to make this one shorter.
Yeah, it's that sweet spot. I think we also kind of inherently know what works for us, unless you're writing a novella, which is great because you know it's a novella. But yeah, I think after a while we kind of get to a point where it's like that's the way it works out as far as our numbers go for word count. But yeah, I mean, obviously, when the publisher tells you it has to be this much, it makes it a little easier. You can aim for that.
But still, every novella I've ever written could have easily been like a 60 to 90,000 word book.
Really? Yeah.
Well, Sharon writes really long, so.
Yeah, but I started writing novellas to teach myself how to look. It's hard. It's not easy writing. I have one coming out this summer. It's 8,000 words. It took me forever.
Wow.
8,000 words. I'm like, I just wrote 18,000 in one weekend, and I couldn't write an 8,000 word book. And it's because I couldn't figure out the structure, how to serve
Just shorten it.
a short, happy story with all of the elements that were required.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
Yes.
And that's cohesive, and you know, because it's not just taking a long story and taking all of it out. Like
Right.
it's a whole different structure in a way.
It is. And it's hard. Like it's not easy. Some ways it's easier when you have 90,000 words. Not, you know what I mean? It's just your mind's like, oh, I want all this space, all this real estate.
Right, exactly. It doesn't seem as important. Every word doesn't seem to carry so much weight, you know.
Exactly. I could be a little more self-indulgent in my word choices.
Right. Exactly. So, Sasha, we're coming to the end of our time together. Did you want to remind our viewers and people who will be viewing this in the future what your next release is and when it's coming out?
Okay. So I have Coming Home to Her Cowboy, which comes out at the end of this month. I believe it is the 24th of this month that it's going to come out. And that is a sweet romance, sweet cowboy romance. Then the end of June is going to be Honey Be Mine, which is the last of the bee books, and I really love it.
That's
and the covers on all of them are great. You definitely know it's a bee book because they've done a great job of putting bees on each of the covers. So those are the next two coming out. But I have other stuff; they just haven't gone up on Amazon yet. So just you can follow me on Amazon, and you'll get the alerts when other stuff goes up.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
So we're going to put you in the back room, Sasha, but don't leave yet.
Okay.
Bye. Thanks for being here. Bye.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Oh,
That was so much fun.
I've loved our
It
book
was
selection.
adorable.
It's been wonderful. They've all been just really heartwarming and hopeful.
We've had a great year. We really have. What's up next?
And it's just gonna, what's up next? And it's gonna continue to keep getting better. So next month, I'll go ahead and introduce what we're doing next month since I happen to have the book in my hot little hands. We're so excited that we are going to be reading It's All in the Hips.
Oh, it's so far. I'm
Yeah.
about like almost
So
half
next month we are reading Diana's book and we're so excited.
so wonderful.
That'll be fun. I love when we get to chat about each other's books.
I
That'll
do
be a
too.
ball.
And congratulations. I hope you had a wonderful
Oh,
release.
thank you. Oh, I did. It was great. I did a lot of gardening. Truth be told.
That's the way to do it.
That's great. Oh, I'm so happy for you, Diana. That's wonderful. I can't
Oh,
wait. I
thank
love
you.
the cover.
Oh, good. Well, we'll talk more about that cover when we're together because I have lots to say. So, all right. Well, it was lovely seeing everybody, and hopefully people manage to find us outside of the group. And if not, we'll post it again inside the group.
And we'll figure this out. Technology.
We'll figure it out. Exactly. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. I think we're still